In colored pencil drawings, the most difficult parts of the portrait, if you ask me, are the nose and the ear part. And here, I want to give you all the tips to draw the most perfect nose and ear. Here, the first tip. Use as many colors as possible that you see in the reference photo. Right now, I have the pink in my hand, but you will see I will use at least 10 colors for this nose right here. The key point here is to look at the reference photo and study it as much as possible. Now you see that I have raw umber in my hand. I'm adding all these colors that I see, and then I have brown ochre 10%, which is a little bit of yellowish beige color, and that's also present in the reference photo if you look closely. If you are having problem in seeing the colors in the reference photo, I highly recommend you to use a tool called eyedrop tool, either in Microsoft PowerPoint or Paint. Here you see me adding burnt sienna and then afterwards sepia. Now I already have 5 different colors and I'm just starting. Here I see a dark red color here, so I'm adding that. That's my 6th color. And I also have this flesh color that I have. And I have Payne's Gray 50%. Because there's some coolness to this skin right here in these 2 spots. But also there is some warmth to it as well. So it's such a good mixture of warm and cool shades of these colors. I'm adding more yellow right here. Try to see these colors with me because I think seeing is 50% of drawing. If you don't see it, you can't draw, right? So seeing those colors really help. And I have this pinkish purplish color right here. I'm mixing Prismacolor colors with Karandash luminance and they work well together. I try not to mix those, but sometimes I don't have the exact color that I'm looking for in one set. So I'm being resourceful here. And I have a little bit of red here. See how I am holding my pencil from the very back so that I'm not applying so much pressure, because I want to apply the pressure in the end. Right now, as you see me burnishing all these layers with my pinkish white color. Adding more yellow here. And some brown ochre right here. It's a more warm color that I have. Blending them right here. It looks like I'm pressing my pencil. Actually, I do, but I'm not pressing so hard per se. I'm just trying to blend all those colors together. If you have a colorless blender and if you choose to do that, please do so. So I'm on my 2nd layer and I added some more pink and yellow, and now I have my black because I want to deepen those darkest parts in the nostrils, and you can see that it gave such a great depth right now. I'm adding more flesh tones here. Guys, I have already used 12 colors. If you've been counting, well, this is what I have so far. Adding more red here, more raw umber here. Make sure that you are not turning your drawing into a cartoon, because if you draw like this that I just did on where the nose is, it's just going to not gonna look realistic. But we will do more shading there and it's going to look more natural in a second. I added some blue and now I am burnishing with my pinkish white color, which comes with Karandash Luminance portrait set, guys, if you're interested. I am adding more pink here in my 3rd layer. So what I see in the reference photo is like a dark bluish shadow here, not raw umber, but more like Payne's Gray. So I'm adding more Payne's Gray here. See, differentiating these colors from each other is very important, and that starts with the reference photo. There's more red here, more flesh tones. This is really called flesh color. Actually, it's again in the portrait set of Karandash Luminance. And for the highlights, you can either use white, which works with Karandash Luminance white color, and you can also try erasing, which might damage the paper, so I don't recommend that very much, but that's also another option. Adding more pink here, and you can see that the nose is now almost ready and it looks very realistic because we spent a good amount of time there adding 12 shades of colors. And now let's talk about the ear. Ear has this weird anatomy, and that's why it's usually very difficult. I highly recommend you to focus on one color at a time. For example, I start with raw umber and I added the lines and the colors or shades where I see raw umber only. And then I grabbed my burnt sienna, I added that. Now I have my red. Am I adding all these lines or shades that I see in red? Now I can go ahead and add more details because I already outlined where I'm going to focus on next. And then I have pink in my hand and I'm just adding where I see a pink. So my eyes are tuned into only one color, and that's where I'm focusing on. If you think about the whole ear or focus on like finishing the ear as realistically as possible, then it's not going to work out. It's going to overwhelm you. And now I have my sepia adding the darkest area in the ear, which will give depth because we want to go from the darkest to lightest to show the play of the light on the ear. Because ear has all these grooves and heights, and how are we going to show that? The only way to show that is to use different colors for light and shadow. I have brown ochre 10% for the yellowish light color areas right now. And in order to give that grooves and hills structure in the ear, what I'm going to do is applying the same color but with different effect. For the darkest shade that I have there, which is the lowest part of the ear, for the grooves, I'm going to apply more pressure. And for the hills, I'm going to have a lighter shade, so I am applying less pressure with the same pencil. Or I can use a lighter shade of the same color and where the hills are, and the darker shade of the same color in the groove section. I can do both. It depends on you. I highly recommend to do both because I want to use as many colors as possible as I see them, but at the same time, if I'm seeing the same color but it has different lighting, then I'm going to give that with the pressure that I'm applying to my pencil. Here's the first layer, guys. First layer is over, and see, with burnt sienna right now, I have more pressure to less pressure right here, so that you can actually have a feeling about where the light is coming from and where's the darkest shadow and where's the lightest highlight. Now, once I finish with my pinkish white color, I'm burnishing the whole ear. Of course, I'm not going to touch the darkest area with this white. If you make a mistake, which you will eventually make, you can use your electric eraser, because electric eraser is perfect for colored pencil drawings. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to erase. But you have to make sure that the tip of the eraser is clean, because especially if you're using wax colored pencils, they get dirty so quickly. And this is what happened here, so I had to go over them a few times. You can give highlights by erasing them too, as I show here, but don't forget, it will damage the paper. If you are planning to do a second or third layer, it's going to be more difficult when you erase. So now I'm doing the second layer, and now I'm adding more layers of raw umber. And here too, wherever I see raw umber tones, I'm just going to add. To be honest, if you look at the face and the ear, you can see that ear is much darker looking than the face. And in the reference photo, that's what I see too. But don't forget, we will add the beard as well. And I think that's going to change the whole aura of our portrait. Now you can see me add burnt sienna color with more pressure to less pressure so that you can actually see the structure of the ear much better. With brown ochre 10%, our yellowish brown color, I'm just going to burnish here instead of white. And in the end, I'm going to add all the highlights with white and the darkest part with just a little bit of black. So focusing on one color at a time and going from darkest to lightest will help you immensely in drawing ear, guys. And don't forget, from more pressure to less pressure is the key. If you want to check out my other colored pencil tutorials, they are right here for you. If you like this video, please don't forget to comment, share, or subscribe. Bye!